What's going on, everybody? So this video is actually going to be spiritual coordination part 3. Okay? So, but what this kind of coordination is dealing with, because what I've learned is that spiritual coordination deals with your whole spiritual travel here in general. So that could deal with dealing with astrology, spirituality, music, dealing with certain circumstances that go through your life, but everything has a coordination, and it all deals with like coordinating and pinpointing things to where things will flow into your favor. Okay, so this kind of spiritual coordination that I'm talking about is, once again, using the energy of the days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But what I'm saying is that the reason this is part of spiritual coordination is because the houses and everything. All right, anyway, using the days to rectify, not rectify, but to use it for spiritual coordination. So this would be like, okay, it really just depends on what your ascendant is. So if your ascendant is like, okay, we'll use Aquarius for an example. The start of the week, which is technically Monday, the Sunday, you got to correlate where your 5th house is, because the sun is the ruler of the 5th house. So it's at home here. So when you have an Aquarius rising, excuse me, when you have an Aquarius rising, essentially what happens is that your 5th house is Gemini. 5th house is Gemini. So the way the temperament that you should go about expressing yourself, and the temperament you should go about displaying your creative abilities and being able to create also, is dealing with mutable air. So mutable air, when we think about mutable, this is just, being able to shapeshift, basically. Being able to maneuver through the crevices to be able to get to a particular goal or anything like that. And being able to learn as you go, being able to adapt very easily. Like you could think of like having a very high learning curve. This kind of energy right here. So when you have Gemini in the 5th house, that's that energy. You're very and then air, which deals with communication. So, and thinking. So when you have Gemini in the 5th house, that's the temperament. You're very communicative when it comes to your expressive abilities. So you may this would be excellent if you're like a singer. So if you're a singer, if you have a great voice, if you have a great speaking and singing voice, since Mercury rules Gemini, it being in the 5th house, this also creates an opportunity sextile energy, because naturally the 3rd and the 5th house are sextiles. So they create an opportunity portal in the sky, which creates this energy for you to be able to obtain all these gifts, these creative attributes when it comes to singing. But that's just an example, and that's just an example of when you have Gemini in the 5th house. Mercury is your 5th house ruler. So that's kind of like how you go about your Sunday, being a Aquarius ascendant. If you're an Aquarius ascendant, that's how you go about your Sunday. You go about it in a Gemini-esque way. So Aquarius and Gemini do a trine. So you already have this gift of being able to obtain your creative abilities and everything like that. So when you go about it based upon that and that temperament, that's that mask that you wear on Sunday, being an Aquarius rising, regardless of what your sun sign is, or your moon sign, Mercury, Venus, or Mars sign is. Now when we get to Monday, okay, same aspect, Aquarius rising, you are going to have Taurus in the 4th house. Now when you have Taurus in the 4th house, that means that this is your temperament when it comes to your home, your family, your parents, your siblings, domestic issues, domestic affairs, anything dealing with the house, fixing it up, taking care of the home, taking care of others within the home, your private issues, because we keep family private. We don't bring it to work, and we don't bring it to our status and everything like that. This is why we don't, when you bring family into any affair, this is when things get very murky and very sticky. You gotta calm down if you do that shit. So anyway, Taurus in the 4th house. Taurus is fixed earth. So being fixed means being stubborn. It means being consistent, and it means being consistent. I think I already said that. So, and earth deals with like building and materializing. So you could really just think about like bricks and like a brick house and everything like that. That would be Taurus energy. It's stable, and the moon is exalted in the second house, aka Taurus. So the moon deals with comfortability. So when you have a stable home and all the bills are paid and everything, you don't really have to worry about anything. Your home is secured and everything. You can do whatever you want to do. Can value the shit that you can be able to do creatively and enjoy and express, aka the ruler of the second house, Venus. So when you're in Aquarius rising, when you go about the Monday energy, the Monday, which is ruled by the fourth house, because the fourth house is the Cancer house, and Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon is Monday. That's the planet that rules that day. So you see how this correlates and everything. So when you go about Monday in a Taurus-like way, you make sure that your affairs are comfortable. You make sure that everything is taken care of. Monday, this is kind of like the day where you make sure everything is taken care of to where you can have a comfortable rest of your week and everything like that. When you're in Aquarius rising and you have Taurus in the fourth house. Now, let's do this differently now. Now you can take that aspect and correlate to yourself. Now let's say you're a Virgo rising. So if you have a Virgo rising, now let's talk about Tuesday. So Tuesday, that would be the first and the eighth house. So when you take the first and the eighth house, you are essentially correlating whatever element is in those houses, being a Virgo rising. So Virgo is in your first house. So you okay, so basically when it comes to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, these play out in the mixture of elements and the mixture of modalities possibly too. So when we deal with Virgo rising, the way that you deal with the Tuesday energy, which is the Mars day energy, which Mars rules the first house and the eighth house. Okay, so the first house is the yang aspect of Mars, the eighth house is the yin aspect of Mars. So wherever your temperament is in the first house, in this case it would be Virgo if you're a Virgo rising, this is how you go about pushing out your Mars energy on Tuesday. Or not your Mars energy necessarily, but just pushing out that aspect and that theme on that day. It's in a very Virgo-like way. So when you're aggressive to people, you may be very constructively or deconstructively criticizing to somebody on a Tuesday. And it's very personal because this is the first house, the house of the personality. Caught a fly. When you catch flies and when you catch insects, that is a natural symbology of you are able to catch pesty energy coming your way, and you're able to see bullshit coming a mile your way. So that means I'm on track, and if you can do this shit, that means you're on track too. So anyway, so yeah, when you deal with Tuesday, that's the element with pushing out, how it's going to externally appear. It's Virgo-like and everything. Now the shit that you deal with internally and everything, when you have a Virgo rising, then your eighth house, which is the Scorpio house, which is the receiving aspect of Mars, the yin aspect, soaking in on your passions and your emotions and being fixated on this and being consistent with your emotions and everything like that. This is why no one can budge you with how you feel being a Scorpio and everything. So when you take these elements, you would have an Aries eighth house. So when you have an Aries eighth house, this is going to be kind of like a shift in energy. You can actually kind of find balance in this too if you're a Virgo rising dealing with the Tuesday energy, because your eighth house is Aries. So when your eighth house is Aries, people actually externally see your internal passions. So you have to actually be careful. You have to make sure that you don't keep your affairs so public. You got to make sure everything is private, being a Virgo ascendant on Tuesdays, because this could be the energy where if you slip up, shit that you don't want to be revealed to other people may be revealed. It's possible. So you got to be careful with that. Now, the last day I'm going to pick up on with this spiritual coordination part 3 is Wednesday. Caught another mosquito. So same aspect, Virgo rising. If you're a Virgo rising, your third and your sixth house. Your third house is going to be Scorpio. And your sixth house your sixth house is going to be Aquarius. Your sixth house is going to be Aquarius. So when your sixth house is Aquarius, your third house is Scorpio and your sixth house is Aquarius. So the way you go about the Wednesday energy and the way you go about communicating with people, the yang aspect of Mercury, which is the third house, the yin aspect of Mercury, which is the sixth house. Now, the air aspect, communicating, Gemini, third house, Mercury, is Scorpio-like when you're a Virgo rising. So when you communicate with people, you may have a very sharp tongue. You may communicate, and the things that you communicate with will kind of actually make people comfortable, able to tell their secrets with you or something like that. It could be that kind of energy when you're dealing with your affairs on Wednesday. Then as far as how you internally soak in your ideas and the way you practicalize and the way you make sense of things and shit is Aquarius-like. That is the Aquarius temperament. So you are so you're soaking in your ideas and it's fixated. And and when you communicate with yourself, you're fixated on your own way of communicating about these things to yourself when it comes to practicalizing and internally practicalizing the things that happen on Wednesday, being a Virgo rising. So that's essentially spiritual coordination part 3, because this is an aspect dealing with astrology in a lot of different ways. Well, it is astrology, but more so of how to correlate it with your ascendant and everything like that. This is just one aspect of the astrological clock of coordinating yourself. Like, okay, for example, we'll end this out with me. I'm a Pisces rising. So today is Thursday. So already, by being a Pisces rising, I'm already going to resonate with this day in general. But the temperament for me of how I go about Thursday energy, my 9th house is Scorpio and my 12th house is Aquarius. So this is how this plays out. So the yang aspect of Jupiter, Sagittarius, the 9th house, is in a scorpionic way. So the way I would talk about the expansion of my knowledge and my higher learning, it's a very deep way. I like to talk about deep knowledge, like this shit right here, correlating yourself in a spiritual way, to coordinate yourself like a metronome in a way to where you're playing with the elements and you're coordinating the elements with the days based upon the houses, because the houses are hot, because those the days, like today's Thursday, so already wherever you have in your chart wheel, the 9th and the 12th house are shimmering and highlighted right now. So you got to understand that too. So I like to talk about deep knowledge. When I internalize my experiences and my education and everything, it's in an Aquarius way. So I'm very consistent. I'm always thinking about the shit that I went through and everything, and possibly how I could go about it, or I may be stubborn about it and I may not want to change the way I go about how I learn and everything like that. So it could play out like that too. So that's spiritual coordination part 3. We'll get into part 4 in another time, dealing with numerology. All right, peace out.